Hi friends, welcome back to the Saffron box. I'm Yamini Sharma and today I'll be talking about the upcoming new year of 2024. Right? There's a lot of curiosity and we all want to know as to how the new year is going to be. Right? So the year changes from a ketu year to a Saturn year. This year 2023 was a 7 year, that is a ketu dominated year, and the next year is going to be a Saturn dominated year. 2024 comes up to a total of 8, which is ruled by Saturn, right? There's always a curiosity whenever new year starts. A lot of us take new year resolutions, we make new plans. Most of the times we don't stick to those plans. There are only a very few people who stick to their new year resolutions, but more or less we want to understand how the new year is going to turn out for us, right? So remember, I'm going to be talking about this new year as in 2024, which is the new calendar year. I'm not talking about the new Hindu year, which starts as per the Panchang. When you refer to the Panchang, the new year, the new Vikram Samvat starts with the month of Baisakh. Not now. This is the calendar year, right? How this year starts is going to be interesting. So at the new year, that is on the 1st of January 2024, 0001 hours, what is going to be the state of planets? Let's have a look at it. So we will have Jupiter in the sign of Aries, and Jupiter is going to be continuing in the sign of Aries till the 30th of April 2024. So the first 4 months Jupiter is going to be in the sign of Aries, and then thereafter it moves on to the next sign, which is Taurus. Then we'll have Moon in the sign of Leo on the 1st of January, 0001 hours, right? Taking the base as New Delhi, which is understandable for everybody. Then we'll have Ketu in the sign of Virgo. Rahu will be in the sign of Pisces. Rahu and Ketu have recently moved from Aries and Libra to Pisces and Virgo. So I've already made a video on that. Those of you who haven't seen it till now, I'll be putting up a link in the description section. You can go and check that out. Then we'll have Venus and a retrograde Mercury in the sign of Scorpio. Sun and Mars are going to be in the sign of Sagittarius at the beginning of the year. I'm talking about 1st Jan 2024, 0001 hours, New Delhi. And Saturn is going to be in the sign of Aquarius, its own sign, its own Mooltrikona Rashi, and Saturn will be moving in the sign, or rather transiting through the sign of Aquarius only the whole year. So the next year it finally exits the sign of Aquarius finally and goes to the sign of Pisces. So that is something which happens next year. So I'll be talking about these particular transits as and when they happen, as you all know, right? So this is going to be the scene, the planetary scene, or the snapshot of how the birth chart looks like on the 1st of January when the year starts. Now let us look at how this year is going to be for all the 12 ascendants. So by ascendants I mean rising signs. Lot of you will find resonance with the rising sign, that is the ascendant, the sign which is rising in the first house of your horoscope, of your Vedic horoscope. Some of you may also find resonance with the moon sign, right? So if you make your moon chart, if you keep moon in the first house of your natal chart and then see, a lot of you will find resonance like that also. I recommend going ahead with the Lagna chart, that is the birth chart which you see, where you keep your ascendant or your rising sign in mind, right? So of course, as I always say, a lot of indications or a lot of predictions can happen, but what your natal chart holds, rather what the universe has promised you at the time of birth, which gets captured in your natal chart, is something which always stays. So for anything to fructify, for you to become wealthy, for you to get married, for you to break through anything or achieve anything, or any major event to happen in your lifetime, you need to have the promise in your natal chart. natal chart is the seed, right? So without the seed, the tree can't grow, no fruit can come on the tree, right? So the natal chart has to promise you something, only then anything can happen. And then on top of that, the right dashas have to come to you. The right dashas, the right antardashas of the relevant planets has to run through for you to get a certain result. Transits, as I'm talking about right now, help you fine tune the results, right? So for example, you have been you know that you have the promise of a marriage, of your marriage in your natal chart. Some people do not have the promise of marriage in their natal chart. It sounds like a very common thing, but still I'm taking this example. Your natal chart says that you will get married, right? When will you get married? All of us get married at different ages, right? Some get married early, some get married pretty late, 30s, 40s, 50s, depends where you are, what you're doing, what gender are you, all those things. So many things count there. So the right dashas have to run through when marriage finally is indicated, and the right transit helps fine tune as to when, which month, which year will you get married. So broadly understanding, this is how it works. So it is not very wise to expect the moon only from transits, literally, and not see your natal chart. So always keep your natal chart. I always explain this to people who consult me. I always explain this in every video so that there is no confusion and there's clarity in understanding any video, any content, right? So whether you watch my video or whether you watch any video, you are clear on this. Only transits cannot give you anything, right? So I'll talk about all the 12 ascendants, all the 12 signs, and I'll begin with the sign of Aries. Now for the Aries ascendant or the Aries rising, Jupiter is going to be in your Lagna for the first 4 months, right? And then it moves on to the next house or the next sign of Taurus, right? So Jupiter staying in the Lagna is going to be aspecting the 5th and the 9th house. It is aspecting the 5th and the 9th and the 7th house. 7th Drishti is by default 7th aspect. So this currently is giving you a lot of strength. There is a lot of I would say Jupiter is giving a lot of strength to your natal chart. Jupiter being the 9th lord, right? So the whole chart is getting uplifted. Whether it comes to your children, whether it comes to your own confidence, whether it comes to luck favoring you, long journeys happening, chances of marriage, chances of a relationship fructifying further into a marriage, getting formalized into a marriage, all these things can be seen in the first 4 months. Thereafter, things would definitely change, right? With Jupiter moving out. Career wise, this is going to be a good year, I would say, with the Saturn, that is the 10th lord, sitting in the 11th house. Career wise, this might be a good year for a lot of you. Health wise, you've got to be careful. So, Upachaya Bhavas, whenever their lords, that is the 3, 6, 10, 11 lords, are in a good position, they may give you a lot of boost materially, but health wise sometimes issues are created. So health wise you need to be a little more careful, especially with Ketu being in the 6th house and Saturn being in the 11th house, right? So you've got to be careful there, especially after the month of April. So the rest of the 8 months, be watchful around your health. Relationship wise, as I said, a lot of you who are looking at matchmaking, alliance, chances of marriage are there. You may enjoy a good relationship with your spouse also initially in the year, but then thereafter you should be a little careful about how you speak and how you're managing your relationships, how you're managing your in-laws, etc. So a lot of you may find some challenging situations there as well, right? this is also a good time for students who are appearing for competitive exams, right? Ketu's presence in the sixth house also gives a lot of boost, and then thereafter we also have a lot of other factors. I'm not elaborating here, but there are a lot of other factors which help you in beating out the competition. So if you're someone who's dealing with a competitive exam, or you're competing somewhere, this is going to be a good time. Make the best use of it. So this year will hold a lot of promise as well. Then I move on to the next sign of Taurus. So if you're a Taurus ascendant or a Taurus rising, then at the beginning of the year we see Jupiter in your 12th house, Rahu is going to be in your 11th house, Ketu comes to the 5th, and Saturn remains in your 10th house. Now the good part about the whole chart for the Taurus ascendant is the presence of Saturn, which is making a Shasha Yoga in the Kendra, right? So Saturn is in its own Mooltrikona Rashi in the 10th house. Saturn is a Yoga Karak planet also for you, and on top of that, if you are undergoing a Saturn Dasha also, then this is really going to boost up your chart. So this year you can be rest assured that career wise this is going to be a good year. You may feel the pressure at work, you may have a lot of pressure and less time to perform. So you may have a lot of pressure with regard to work, but it is going to be a rewarding year compared to the years gone by, right? So you put in hard work, but you get the results also, right? Some of you may also rise up to a leader position, or maybe given a team lead or a lead position. So you may get to lead a few people also. So make sure that you are taking care of your team, taking care of the people you're looking after in a proper way, because Saturn being here in the 10th house also puts in a lot of emphasis on the on the people who are looking up to you or your juniors, right? So Saturn always likes you to behave, be considerate, and take care of people who are under you, who are dependent on you, or the likes. You get what I mean, right? So that is again something which you've got to do. Be fair and square with people, and that is the way of Saturn. And for you, the entire year, Saturn is going to be a very important planet sitting in the 10th house. Apart from that, it is also important that you take care of the communication which you have with your partner, right? So with your partner or any relationships as such you're dealing with, your communication needs to be good. You don't have to be very curt. Stay polite. Maybe speak less, but speak politely, speak softly with people. So sometimes being curt and being too blunt can land you in a suit. So that is something which you should definitely avoid. This whole year you should always be little careful with your investments, right? So as I see it, do not be impulsive in investments. Do not be impulsive in spending your money anywhere, especially the stock markets or wherever there's some amount of speculation. Try and stay away from it, or do it with a lot of care and caution, right? Because it may happen, or there might be a tendency with the Rahu Ketu axis being here, Rahu being in the 11th, Ketu being in the 5th. Rahu may want you to do things to improve your material stand, or materially get better off, and it may make you a little impulsive. So that impulse is something which you've got to avoid, and be more rational, be more prudent in your financial decisions or with your money, right? There could also be some worry on account of your children. So whether it's their health, or whether it's your relationship with them, or their expectations of you, right? So with your children, if you qualify for that, if you have a child to take care of, you've got to be more careful and more understanding. Understand the others, your child's point of view, and then see what has to be done. So there could be some rift here, or this could be a sensitive point throughout the year. Also for those people who have a love interest, again sensitive points. So some of you may also undergo a break up this year, or you may not be able to carry on with the relationship for very long, right? So again, expectation mismanagement or expectation management, so to say, could be a problem. This could also be a little tricky time for people who have issues related to their stomach or digestion. So if you have digestion issues, if you have any pitta related disorder, then this could be a challenging time. So be careful with your food intake, so that you avoid any frequent stomach infections, etc. That is again something which one has to take care of, right? Now I move on to the next sign, that is Gemini. So if you have a Gemini ascendant or you're a Gemini rising, then for you the entire year we see Saturn sitting in the ninth house. Saturn is your trinal lord also, and Saturn is in the Mooltrikona Rashi, its own Rashi of Aquarius, in the ninth house. So that is a plus point which I would say throughout the year. Saturn being there gives a lot of support to the Lagna also, right? So this year is going to see Rahu in the 10th house. Jupiter will be sitting in the 11th house, and then thereafter in the month of April end, Jupiter will move out of your 11th house into the 12th house, right? So for you, I would say overall this year seems to be good. Those who are looking at marriage prospects, fixing your marriage, etc., the first half of the year could give you a lot of opportunities to get a match, fix a marriage, get engaged, etc. Kids wise also this could be a decent year. Those of you who are looking at conception may have already conceived, or maybe looking at some positive news in the coming 3-4 months. Again, let me go back to the disclaimer. The natal chart has to be seen before we talk about these events, right? Workplace wise, you may find a lot of new things happening at workplace. New roles, new responsibility can come in for you. There could be a change of workplace also for many of you, or there could be a change in role, as I mentioned. Some of you may also find new opportunities, right? So something offbeat to do, something which is totally new for you, where you have to upskill yourself and then get on to the job. These kind of things could also happen, right? So upskilling, learning, relearning, all these things will happen at workplace. Workplace will take up a lot of your time and energy this entire year, right? So remember, we have Saturn, Rahu, Jupiter, all the three major big wigs, the big planets in the brighter half of your horoscope, that is in the 9th, 10th and 11th houses, right? So whenever the brighter half has a lot of planets, there's usually a lot of action over there, right? So the second half is going to be full of action at workplace. Sometimes you may find it very difficult to concentrate at home or look after your domestic affairs also. So that is the time where you have to be careful with regard to your relationship with your family members, with your spouse, etc., right? You got to be careful with regard to your mother's health. I don't see a very positive indication there, so look after her. Your relationship with your mother can also get hampered a bit because of ideological differences, some mental differences, all those things. So that is again a sensitive point which I see, right? Overall, this seems to be a good year. Gains can come in the first half, and then thereafter you'll also have to keep a tab on your expenses, right? So when Jupiter goes into your 12th house, it could also lead to a lot of expenses. That is something which you have to see. Then moving on to the next sign of Cancer. So if you are a Cancer ascendant or Cancer rising, then this entire year we see Saturn, which is your 8th lord, sitting in the 8th house itself. Rahu in the 9th house, Jupiter in the 10th house. Jupiter is again a benefic planet for you. It is the ninth lord for you. It sits in the 10th house and then moves on further to the 11th house. So I would say the key planets for you are going to be Saturn and Jupiter. Saturn, because you've got to be careful. Saturn will tell you what all you need to be careful about, and Jupiter will show you your areas of growth as well, right? So here you enjoy a good relationship with people around you. All that is going to be okay, but when it comes to your relationship with your in-laws, etc., there could be issues which can come up. There could be issues related to inheritance, also issues related to things which come up just suddenly, any chronic health issues, etc. Saturn is sitting strong. Saturn is the 8th lord, sitting strong in the 8th house itself. So all the 8th house matters can take up a lot of your time, can suck up a lot of time and energy, right? So those of you who are in the field of research, history, in the occult, astrology, etc., may find themselves going deeper and doing better in these fields. But otherwise, if it doesn't apply to you, then you may find it a little challenging, right? So it's better to spend time and effort in something which is related to research, or which is related to reading about history or going deep into something. So try to exhaust that energy in researching something, studying deep philosophy, or scriptures, texts, something which is difficult, which is related to your subject. All those things will show a positive indication, but relationship wise with your in-laws, etc., there could be some setbacks, so you've got to be a little prepared for that. Also this year with ketu in the 3rd house, you may also find it a little challenging to deal with your siblings, right? So if you have younger siblings you're not getting along well with, there could also be issues related to that. Your relationship can get hampered, so you've got to be careful there as well. A lot of long journeys may happen, right? So a lot of long journeys, frequent travels. Some of you may also travel to foreign places. Work wise, you will enjoy a good position, especially in the first half, and then thereafter also. I mean, I don't see that too much of a concern as such. Those of you who are looking at getting married may also find a suitable match, right? Then I move on to the next sign of Leo. So if you are a Leo ascendant or Leo rising, then the entire year we see Saturn sitting in your 7th house. It is the 7th lord also, it's a Saptamesh, and Saturn is sitting in the 7th house looking at the Lagna throughout the year, right? So Saturn is again a key planet for you. You need to manage the Saturn part pretty effectively to effectively manage a lot of challenges, because as I say, planets sitting in the 7th house also give up or throw up a lot of challenges which you have to deal with, right? Your partner, your marriage, your spouse, your contracts, your deals, everything lies in the 7th house. So the 7th house lord, that is Saturn, and the 7th house takes up a lot of your time, your energy, and your focus this entire year. We also see Rahu in the 8th house for the whole year, Ketu going into the 2nd house. We see Jupiter in the 9th house. So that is something which is good for you, because at the beginning of the year you see Jupiter, which is a benefic planet for you, in the 9th house itself, giving its aspect to the Lagna and the 5th houses. So there is a lot of saving grace all in all, right? Till the time Jupiter is here, a lot of saving grace on you, your health, your children, your relationships, the way you communicate. So a lot of lady luck favors you, all those things happen. But Saturn sitting here, Saturn is not a good planet for you. It is also the bitterest enemy of the Lagnesh, that is Sun. So you have to play it down a bit. That is the way to manage this whole placement of Saturn in your chart. Play it down a bit. Do not play upon your ego. Do not be too egoistic with your partner. be humble, practice humility, right? So you may like to write this down in front of you and practice it every day. Do not bring your ego in relationships. Be very humble and always be receptive to what the other person is trying to tell you. That is always a challenge with the Leo Lagna. I have seen that, especially with the placement of Saturn. If Saturn is too powerful, this always becomes a problem, right? Especially in your marriage, etc. So ego wise, you've got to be very careful. Listen to other people, listen to your business partners, whosoever you deal with across the table. Completely try to understand that person first, right? So that is important. Money wise or financially, Ketu is going to be in your second house throughout the year. Care and caution should be exercised when it comes to your investments, right? Do not try to do everything by yourself. So take expert advice, take proper financial advice before you go ahead investing big sums of money. Also this year, you've got to be avoid being blunt and very rough in your speech. So this could also be a problem. You can be very blunt and that can cause a lot of problems for you. A lot of inheritance issues may come up. Inherited property, inheritance issues. So good or bad, that depends on your chart, but this could also be a focus area. For some, it may also be unearned money which comes to you, right? So money wise, financially, a lot of unexpected situations can also come up. Good or bad, as I say, depends on the natal chart as well. Work wise, this is going to be a good year. Those of you who are employed, the second half of the year, that is May onwards, when Jupiter also comes into the 10th house, there'll be a lot of saving grace. You may feel like you're doing better at workplace. So a lot of your focus will be there, and it's important to focus there rather than get into petty things, which a lot of other planets may pull you towards, right? So that is something which you've got to avoid. Now here, one more thing which I definitely see is that Rahu is going to be in the 8th house throughout the year. Lot of you would like to get into astrology, numerology, all these paravidyas, all these occult sciences, etc. So if you have any interest like that, this is a great time to take up your area of interest, learn more, and get into astrology, occult, etc. Right? So there is going to be a lot of focus there. A lot of you would like to learn things and be very inquisitive about it also. Those of you who are in the oil and gas sector, mining, etc., for them also it's going to be a good period, right? With Rahu's presence in the 8th, that is a positive point. Then moving on to the next sign, that is Virgo. So if you are a Virgo ascendant or a Virgo rising, the entire year we see Ketu being in the Lagna. Ketu is in the sign of Virgo. So the entire year Ketu is going to be there in the Lagna, and Rahu is going to be there in the 7th house. So the 1st house and the 7th house, you and others, Rahu and Ketu energies are going to play up. Saturn is going to be there in the 6th house in its own sign throughout the year, and we also see Jupiter in the 8th house for the first 4 months. Then it moves on to the 9th house, right? So here, especially with Ketu being in the Lagna, there could be a lot of feeling of detachment, right? You are in there but yet you're not there, right? So feeling of being detached, sometimes feeling very lonely or isolated, all these things can also be there. Remember that Virgo Lagna or Kanya Lagna is anyways prone to all these things, prone to feeling hurt, or prone to a lot of sensitivity, being sensitive, being emotional, health issues, all these things. It's by default the 6th by default, if you see the natural horoscope, Virgo falls in the 6th house, and the 6th house is a delicate house, right? While it helps you grow, it also gives you enemies, diseases, deaths, etc. So it is anyways a sensitive lagna. So, and now with Ketu being in the sign of Virgo, being in your lagna itself, you may feel a little sensitive, feel a little detached, etc. Sometimes you may feel that your partner is not able to give in what you want, is not able to connect with you the way you want, or the partner is being too focused in his or her own life, right? So that is something which you have to manage throughout the year. This year it's good that you spend a lot of time in physical exercise, take care of your body, take care of your daily routine. Saturn is there in the 6th house. Utilize the Saturnian energy in bringing up a lot of positivity, building up a lot of discipline in your life, right? So set up a good routine, set up a good health routine for yourself. That is something which I would advise all the Virgo lagnas, irrespective of what dasha or whatever is running, whatever your natal chart says. Do this, improve yourself, and you'll be able to reap in the good effects, reap in the good health benefits later, right? So you can always do this. There are also chances of some blame or of some some kind of issues, blame game being played on you. So be very careful in your people dealings, especially when you meet up with new people, right? So that is again something which you've got to be careful about. The first half of the year, the beginning of the year, I would say, could bring in some domestic issues, right? So some disturbances in your domestic life, in your home comfort, not being comfortable at home, too many people coming and going, not being able to enjoy your home the way it is. So all these things are also definitely seen. Once Jupiter moves out of the 8th house into the 9th house, then things may look up a little in terms of some better connects, some better advice coming to you, or overall a feeling of positivity coming to you, right? You may also enjoy a good relationship with your children after that. So second half is much better, I would say. The first half, concentrate on yourself and avoid any miscommunication, any blame game. Don't indulge unnecessarily with people or in any situations as such, right? Work wise also, this is going to be a decent year, I would say. Then moving on to the next sign of Libra. So if you're a Libra ascendant or a Libra moon sign for that matter also, whichever you find relevant, the entire year we will see Saturn, which is your yoga karak planet. Saturn is going to be in the 5th house all throughout the year, right? Those of you who are running a Saturn dasha or who have a well placed Saturn, etc., may find it good. Saturn will give a lot of saving grace to you, right? Sitting in its own house, being the yoga karak as well. Rahu is going to be in the 6th house throughout. Ketu is obviously going to be in the 12th house. Jupiter will be in the 7th house for the first 4 months and then moves on to your 8th house. So here, money wise, I would say this can be a good year. You may start the year on a good note financially. So you may get some gains, some unearned income may come your way, some gains may come your way. Your returns, the ROI, the return on investments for you may be pretty good, right? So financially a good year. A lot of you will try to fix a match for themselves. This is a good year for that as well. Getting married, fixing a marriage for yourself, all those things may happen well. Your kids may take up a lot of your time, effort and money, right? So there's going to be a lot of focus on your kids. Those of you who don't have kids yet may also look at conception, and those of you who have children may look at focus on children, right? So focus on your children, spending a lot of time and effort on them, spending a lot of money on them also will definitely be there. Apart from that, any skill which you have, any artistic skill which you have, any talent which you have, this is the right time to hone it further, right? You may spend a lot of your time there on that skill and may sharpen it up, may upskill or learn better, right, for your own future. So this is the time to do so as well. Now with the Rahu Ketu axis being in the 6th and the 12th, the first thing which you've got to do, avoid any addictions, right? So health wise, take care of yourself. Don't get into any addictions. So don't indulge in anything which you like, don't eat mindlessly, or don't consume anything which is not good for you, which is not healthy for you. So moderate consumption, moderate intake is recommended, right? Those of you who are undergoing any medical, any legal problems also have to be careful this entire year, right? Rahu is smoke, 6th house in smoke. You have to be careful, though Rahu will also give you the ability to fight back people, right? So if you're appearing for any competitive exams, etc., if you're in any competitive situation, etc., there is going to be a lot of positivity which Rahu might also render here, right? So that is definitely around the cards, but still when it comes to your health, you've got to be careful there. Those of you who are philosophically or spiritually inclined may also like to develop their spiritual side, or get into meditations, get into spiritual retreats, explore your spiritual side quite a bit, right? So you may like to take some time off from your daily routine. You may like to think about the bigger questions of life and all those things. So that is also there. Those indications are also definitely there throughout the year, right? A lot of focus on your daily routine or a change in daily routine would also creep in. Then by the second half of the year, it's important that you take care of your health, take care of any chronic health issues that you might have, chronic health issues, or for that matter anything which is hereditary, which can come to you if you are in that age and stage, in your 40s, in your 50s, you are dealing with any health issue. Do definitely take extra care of yourself. Work wise, this is going to be a good year, right? Especially with the Yogacarak planet in place. Saturn is the planet of service. It is the Yogacarak Graha also for you. So if not very good, then at least a comfortable state will definitely be there for you, right? Then moving on to the next sign of Scorpio. So if you're a Scorpio ascendant or a Scorpio rising, this year starts with Saturn being there in your 4th house in its own Rashi. Saturn is going to be there throughout. Then Rahu is going to be there in your 5th house the entire year. Jupiter is in the 6th house, and then thereafter in the month of April end, Jupiter exits out of the 6th house, goes to the 7th house and aspects the Lagna. I would say a lot of focus for you would be on building a foundation for yourself, right? So whether it is honing your skills, your education, your competencies, whatever skills you have, you need to work on that. Lot of you will also look at home or property investments, right? Buying land, buying property, that would be a focus area. So if you're planning, so things may materialize this year, especially with the presence of Shani here in the 4th house. An upgrade to a better property, an upgrade to a better vehicle, all these things are definitely indicated. Those of you who are looking at childbirth or planning a family may also look at conception here. If you have been facing difficulties, then the conception might happen, but with a lot of medical aid. So that angle also should be there for you if it qualifies for you, right? A lot of your time and energy would also go towards managing yourself, right? So you may be stuck up in a very hectic work schedule where you find it difficult to manage things around yourself. So managing things, putting things in order is something which you will definitely struggle with, right? So how do you manage things around you? How do you manage your routine? How do you manage your children, your work front? Is there some, that is something which is going to keep you busy throughout the year, especially with Rahu in the fifth house. Fifth house is all about how we manage ourselves, and Rahu here with its smoky qualities can cause a lot of confusions also, right? You may find it difficult to keep your social circle alive. So some people will come and go, some people you'll have to let go. So trimming of your social circle is also indicated, right? So socially this might not be a very great year. This will be a year where you will concentrate a lot on yourself, on your property, on your domestic issues and all that, right? Growth wise or career wise, this may be a decent year where you see a lot of opportunities to grow as well. So a lot of ambition creeps in and you understand how to grow yourself, you work on yourself, right? Overall a good year provided you focus on yourself. Now moving on to the next sign of Sagittarius. So if you have a Sagittarius ascendant or a Sagittarius rising, this entire year we see Saturn, your third lord, in the third house itself. I see it as a good position, right? We have Rahu in your fourth house throughout the year. Jupiter, your Lagnesh, is in the fifth house in the beginning of the year and then moves on to the sixth house. Jupiter will be aspecting the Lagna and the ninth house also. So the year could begin with you being very hopeful, being very optimistic, and sometimes being a little too high-headed also, right? So that is something which you've got to guard against. You may think very big, you may think that you can achieve whatever, but on practically coming to things, things may not be the same, right? So you may make very big plans, but how do you execute them practically on ground could be a challenge. So keep your goals realistic, keep your actions aligned to your goals, be goal oriented. Do not make big plans and do not overcommit to everybody including yourself and then not deliver, right? And then under deliver. So that is something which you have to keep in mind throughout the year. Otherwise this year is very good for working hard, for beginning new initiatives, working towards your work area, towards your goal. Saturn in the third house is going to definitely help you there, push you all through. Expenditure towards new plans, new projects is also indicated, right? So a lot of you will invest a lot or expend a lot towards your projects. There could be difficulty in managing your work-life balance. This usually happens whenever Rahu is in the fourth house and Ketu is in the 10th house. So work-wise, you remain a little dissatisfied, and because of that, that dissatisfaction can creep in at home also. So work-life balance may be tough to maintain, right? The idea here is to focus on your work, focus on your goals, keep your head down, and with a lot of humility, with a lot of patience, carry on towards your goals, right? So Saturn is going to help you do that. Capitalize on the Saturnian energies, I would say. Also, this could be a little tricky year for people who have a weak digestion, or if you have issues related to digestion, so your liver, stomach issues. This area could be a little vulnerable to disease or to any health problems. So the food intake which you have or any chronic health issues which you have need to be addressed in time and properly, right? So that is something which you definitely have to see. A lot of you will, those of you who are working in the public space, who are in the public eye, may gain a lot of popularity as well, right? So that is again something which I see positively for you. Otherwise this year seems to be okay. um, a lot of focus on your own health is definitely required. Then I move on to the next sign of Capricorn. So if you're a Capricorn ascendant or a Capricorn rising, your Lagnesh, that is Saturn, stays in the second house for the entire year. Rahu stays in the third house, and Jupiter stays in the fourth house at the beginning of the year for the first 4 months, and then moves out to the fifth house. So now for you, this is a time of upgrading yourself. This is a time of enhancing your education, enhancing your skill sets. If it qualifies for you, if you're a student, if you're looking for higher education opportunities, etc., this may be a pretty good year for you, right? So work hard. This year will help you achieve your goals towards studying better, towards going to a good university, a good institute, etc. A lot of journeys may take place, or your daily routine may keep you very busy. So a lot of journeys, a lot of short journeys, travel is definitely indicated for you. For those of you who are spiritually inclined, or you want to visit holy places, etc., this is a wonderful year. So you may get a lot of chances to visit holy places, to seek spiritual guidance, to seek a guru. Ketu's presence in the ninth house is going to work wonderfully for you, right? So this is a good chance to enhance your or build up your spiritual side, etc. If you are into reading spiritual texts, reading books of philosophy related, theology related, then this is a wonderful opportunity. You may get a lot of good teachers, you may get a lot of good books, and you'll feel satisfied also doing that. Money wise, this may seem to be a decent year, especially with Saturn, which is the second lord, is sitting in the second house itself. So money wise, financially, it's going to be a decent year for you. Some of you may also look at a gain of a house or property or a big vehicle, right? So you may look at an upgrade, or you may look at you may look at a purchase of a new house, etc., right? Whatever you may plan to buy may be a little out of budget for you also. So that is again something which I definitely see. Something which is out of budget, something which is out of the reach, and you find it a little difficult to buy it, right? But a good opportunity to buy property, as I mentioned, property or a big vehicle. Then moving on to the next sign of Aquarius. So if you're an Aquarius ascendant or Aquarius rising, this entire year we see your Lagnesh, that is Saturn, sitting in the Lagna itself, sitting in the first house itself, which is again a good indication. It gives you a lot of strength. When the Lagnesh comes to the Lagna itself, we see Rahu in the second house, Ketu in the 8th house. So the second and 8th, the money houses, are your money and your partner's money, so to say, are activated with Rahu Ketu here. And Jupiter is going to be in the third house in the beginning of the year, and then moves on to the fourth house. This is a great year to work on yourself, to better yourself. There might be situations, circumstances which really help you mature as a person. So you may be asked to take mature decisions, you may be asked to exhibit maturity, or situations demand that you become mature, that you grow up, right? Saturn being here in the Lagna itself will give you a lot of opportunity for that. So a lot of responsibility can come your way. A lot of important decisions may be left to you. So this is your chance to grow. This is your chance to better yourself. If you're somebody who's younger, this is a chance to upgrade your skills, upgrade your education, read more, understand things better, stay with seniors, speak to elders, seek a lot of growth in as a human being. Read up a lot. So what all do we do to understand life? We read, we talk to good people, we be in good company, we seek wisdom through books, through people, through experiences, right? So we understand whatever is happening to us and then mature up as a human being. That is going to be happening with the Aquarius ascendant. right? So with Saturn being present in the Lagna. Rahu is in the second house, lot of opportunities for wealth building, but at the same point in time, also be very careful about where you're investing, what you're doing. Keep transparency within your family. In your family front, you've got to be more careful and transparent. That is important. Ketu in the 8th house may pose some problems when it comes to your in-laws or when it comes to your partner's money. So with regard to your money or with regard to your in-laws relationship, there could be some hassles which you might have to manage through, right? That is again something which is going to be an important factor throughout the year. Work wise, seems to be a good month, good year rather. Saturn is going to be aspecting the 10th house throughout. It is going to be aspecting the 3rd house, the 7th house also. So work wise, any travels, any new responsibilities, all that, I would say work wise this is going to be the one of the best years for you if your natal chart is also promising the same. Then moving on to the next, those of you who are looking at getting married, this may also be a time where you finally find a match and you get married. So this year chances of getting married are also pretty high. Then I move on to the last ascendant of Pisces. So if you are a Pisces ascendant or a Pisces rising, we see Rahu in your Lagna. Rahu has recently come to your Lagna, that is in the sign of Pisces. Rahu is going to be in your Lagna throughout the year. Ketu is going to be in the 7th house. Saturn is going to be in the 12th house throughout the year. And Jupiter is going to be in the 2nd house and then moves on to the 3rd house later. This year will make you focus on yourself and yourself alone, right? Rahu here with a push of Saturn also behind it, you may feel that this is the year where you make plans and you do whatever you want to do. So to some extent it's okay, but then this may also turn negative if you're ignoring others in the process, if you're ignoring others while you're focusing too much on yourself. This is a year of maintaining your relationships, taking everybody along with you, especially your spouse if you're married, right? So too much of focus on yourself, too much of I, me, myself may put in situations of discontent, dissatisfaction with your spouse. If you are somebody who's who's in a very delicate situation with regard to marriage, or thinking of a breakup, thinking of separating, etc., this may be a very crucial year for you, right? So take care of your relationship some way or the other. Some results related to a relationship or marriage could fructify this year. Also, Jupiter in the 2nd house will help you in your wealth building, in your finances in the first half of the year, and then thereafter things will take care of themselves. Also, work wise, I would say this is going to be a decent year. A lot of focus is what you might demand on yourself, right? Work wise also you may have the same idea of focusing on yourself. Remember, this entire year you have to take others along. Be sensitive towards others. Even if others are not replying back to you, others are not answering back to you, sometimes you never know how some dissatisfaction or dejection might creep in, right? So take others along. Take your partner, take your spouse, take your team along with you, and that's how you'll be able to maximize the good part of this year, right? Some of you may also look at a physical makeover. So you might look at a change of hairstyle or doing up your wardrobe, etc. A lot of people will do that. I'm already seeing the effects here with the Pisces ascendant especially, right? So that was all about the 12 signs and how does this year generally looks like for all of you. I hope you have understood, and if you have any queries, you may like to shoot me a mail or you may like to message me, and I'll be happy to respond. And I'll see you very soon in the next video. Till then, take care and have a good happy new year 2024.